Most people, when it comes to modeling hard surface models like this, would not have a clear idea of where to start or how to get anywhere near good topology when it comes to modeling anything remotely difficult like this. So in this video, I'm going to do my best to show you how to start modeling more difficult models like this with pretty clean topology. Let's hop in. Okay, so the first thing you need is a clear way to approach starting a model like this. So obviously the first thing you're going to do is have some sort of reference in the background. So you can see this is mine. You just drag it over. And if I was going to start out with a handle, you need to break down these shapes. Now, obviously you can see most of it is flat. And then the main thing is like, this is all going to be a flat area. And then the main thing is these dips over here like this. And then obviously this hole over here. Okay. And then obviously all of these little cutouts in the back. So the first thing we can do is start out with a plane. And then to start out, I would start tracing these sort of gaps, or we could make it quite big. So I'll probably go out to like here. And then we'll probably start out with this handle bit. Then start adding all the edge loops to line up with these sections. Then obviously you would not have enough vertices if you just did like this. So then I would add like an edge loop over here. I would take these two, go and bevel them to get my two across. And then we could start getting the sort of shape we want. Now, one thing that you need to bear in mind is anytime you are going to, especially with a subdivision surface, anytime you're going to be making some sort of edge, you need to have a consistent width going around it. So if we are doing a curve like this, what that means is this edge, what we're going to do is we have to split it. So we have to split it in half, like over here, and then have it go around like this. Okay. So like we would have an edge there so that we have a consistent width. So our subdivision looks correct. So to get that, I'll probably start out with adding some edge loops. Let me just pull these vertices back to start following the shape of it. And I probably would have some extra vertices in there. But if we pull these back like this, then what we would do is I would go probably like add an edge loop along this back edge. And I'm going to go E for even and then F for flipped. Just go line it up with that back edge. And then I'm just going to delete these faces so we can start messing around with the topology without having to worry about anything. Okay. So what I would do is over here, I would add an edge loop in here into the middle. And then from there, pull these vertices down so that this is at the corner. Okay, so this is at the corner and it's ready to go around. Cool. So I can just extrude out the vertice or just fill this in. Okay, and then extrude to this corner. Extrude up. Okay, and then I'm going to select these two and go M at center. And then we can just fill this in and same thing over here. Okay, so you see we're starting out this edge going around. Same thing here, just add an edge loop and then fill this in. And then obviously we need a few more edges here. So I'm just going to add 2 edge loops on all of these like this. Okay, and then we can go start getting the edge. Then obviously these are going to be a little bit round. So I'm just going to bring them in like this, follow this edge as well. And then so there. Okay, and then we're not going to worry too much about this edge for now, just because that is less important for what we're doing. So again, trace this whole edge, making sure that we have a consistent width going around. Now you can also just do it to the other side of here, and then we can worry about the rest of it later. Cool. Okay, and then for here, I'm going to bring this up to there, and then I can just go like knife tool across all of these to there. And then this one, I'm going to, seems like there's a lot of vertices there, M at center, then M at last. Okay, and then these two as well, M at center. Cool. So now we have a good start, and then we can go add probably like 2 edge loops down this way. Now, once we have this, we are in a very close state to being ready to do a subdivision. So we can go get these just in a little bit. Okay. And this is close enough to being able to ready to subdivide subdivision surface. So add a subdivision. And now you'll see the one thing that we need to bear in mind is these corners are not correct. Even though it lines up over here, no matter how much we add, like do there, it's not going to really work. And this is one thing you really need to learn with subdivision surface modeling is you need to, like, you're not going to just add, it's more a nightmare if you add all these extra vertices over here. So there is a easier way we can protect these corners, but we are going to get these little indents first before we talk about that. So if we can just grab all of these faces and then pull them down. Cool. The other thing you're going to see is that these corners don't look very nice as well, just because, again, we also don't have a consistent width or anything like that. So this is a bigger transition than this. So we have both of those issues to fix. By the way, if you're struggling on any of your hard surface modeling projects or just in general with Blender, then you can check the link down below to check out the 3D Modeling Academy, which is my Blender school where I'll personally review and help you with your 3D models. Hope to see you there. Back to the video. Okay, so the first one is these edges over here. And the way that you fix stuff like this is, again, having a consistent width going around. So to get this edge working as well, I'm going to just go add the outside loop. So let me grab all of this and then just extrude out to about there. And then maybe bring this up to this corner of this hole here so we can extrude out to get this all traced. And then we have a good piece over here. Cool. Okay, so what we can do is we can grab all of these edge loops like this. So I'm just Alt-Shift left-clicking like this all the way around. And then once we have an edge like this, we can go bevel this. So I'm going to go Control-B to bevel. And before we do that, I'm just going to double check I don't have any mess-up scale. This is all correct. Cool. Control-B to bevel. I'm going to add one subdivision. And then in this profile, I'm going to drag it to 1. Okay. So now we can use this to set a more consistent width along all of this. Okay. And some of these are going to be a bit messed up. So what I'm actually going to do is, just for now, I'm going to select these edges like this and join them just so that our bevel is better. Okay. So I'm just going to join all of these. Cool. There you go. Okay. So now if we bevel, and then again, so we have a profile of 1 like that. And what that does is it gives us, if we look at this now, a lot more consistent edge around the whole thing. And this other solution we have is this needs to be further in if we want to have a consistent shadow or consistent amount around the whole thing. Okay. And then let's just go get rid of these triangles now because we have our bevel in properly. Cool. And you can see that is looking a lot better than the other bits. So let's go get rid of these and get rid of these. Cool. There you go. All right. The second thing that we have to talk about is these edges in the corner over here that is not working correctly because, as you see, they are bending way too much. Okay. So the topology for this is relatively simple in terms of, and I'll show you exactly how I got to this solution. So obviously, your normal instinct would be to add an edge loop like this and to protect those corners. So now you see that fixes it. But now this has gone and messed up all the shading around here. So let me get rid of those and show you how I would go about fixing this. So the way we do it is by redirecting, firstly, taking these, and these edges are going to be the ones that do that corner. So I'm just going to go knife tool up like this to get my edge. And I can adjust it until I get what I like. Okay. So obviously this doesn't work just having these two triangles here. So what we can do is dissolve these edges. Okay. And then we can rebuild some sort of quad based thing like that. Okay. So here is a simple version of it where these are all still quads and everything still works and none of the shading is messed up. I think my solution over here on the previous one was something different where I did up to here and then same thing over here. And then I just went and drew like a whole new square. So something like this. So I went and put a piece like this and then you can join across like that. Okay. And you see these are all still quads and you still get your shading. So you see either one works and this one's obviously a bit simpler, but if you also need to, I mean, all of this actually works, and then we can obviously add our extra edge loops we need to get the different shapes working. Okay, and as you see, this is a very easy way to actually get the shapes that we need while doing our sub-D modeling without actually having to add a huge amount of vertices like most people would be doing. So I hope you have found this useful. And if you're wanting to improve your modeling skills, then click over here to watch a video about a simple modeling tool to help you on a lot of your hard surface modeling projects. Hope to see you there. Cheers.